I'm trying to enjoy the moments to look at him and enjoy him being this small because I know it's short-lived.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yes. Omar, it goes very fast.
Yeah. It's already, I mean, I lifted him up today from under his shoulders and stretched him out. I'm like, Jesus, you're very tall and long, actually, because they're always curled up. Arms are curled up, legs are curled up. So you don't appreciate their length until you actually pick them up like that. And I was like, man, you're pretty tall already. That's pretty amazing. So,
Omar, it happened very fast.
Yeah.
My little one, I have five kids altogether. And the little one is 17.
Wow.
And she born yesterday and looked like was yesterday, but she's 17 already.
Wow.
Totally independent. She's going to college already and everything.
It's amazing. Congrats.
Yes, it's very fast. So enjoy every moment, give the time for your children, for your kid, as much as you can, all the love that you can, and, sing songs, speak to him in English and in Spanish.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing both.
Yes.
I told my wife, I'll do the Spanish, you do the English, and you'll hear both from us.
Yes.
And you can pick up the language, congruently. So, yeah. It's a fun time.
All right, congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Wayne. How are you?
Good.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jim.
Hello.
Hi there. The invisible Omar, right? Yes.
Visible, invisible, depends.
Right. Well, with Zoom, we have that option.
You mean it's not a side effect of the vaccination that it makes you invisible?
No, it's the chips that are in the vaccination.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
The chips that Microsoft put in there.
Right, or Bill Gates personally.
Personally,
I need like a nice background like Catherine has behind her. I need to get the drape behind me because right now I'm in like what's gonna become his nursery since he's sleeping with us right now. I'm in the other room. So this is all like under construction back here. So
hey, we like construction.
Oh, I love looking at construction.
We'll get to see the makeover.
I'm saving myself from exposing that right now.
Welcome back, everyone. Just a heads up, Ellie had a family emergency today. So I'll be facilitating. So also just feel free to let me know when we hit quorum, hopefully soon. Now we could probably just start with report backs.
Okay. It's only 6 of us. We need one more for quorum. Wait, Daryl, are you speaking for parks?
Wow. So, someone's behind. No, I'm the new HHS chair.
Okay, so
Yes.
So we need another
It's good
person.
to be here.
hold
Right,
on. So I think we're good. I think we have 7. Hold on a second.
Remember, I don't count.
Right, I didn't count you.
Good.
Not in a bad way, you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Okay, yeah, so that makes 7 of us. All right, awesome. Welcome back. We're gonna start fresh. We're gonna start on time. It is September. We want to keep it going. I mean, I know folks have seen each other at least virtually. I was really bummed to know that we weren't gonna be in person, but of course, Delta and the health and safety of everyone. But it's great to see you all back on the screen. I hope everyone had an amazing summer and was able to rest some. And gearing back for all of the work that I know there was a lot to catch up on, and things that are coming up. So as I mentioned earlier, Elias said our chair won't be with us tonight. So my name's Catherine. I'll be chairing. And so we're gonna skip on over. So actually, sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We're at quorum. And so I'm going to make a motion to approve our agenda.
I
I'm
second the
forgetting to do
motion.
it. Okay, great. Thank you, Jim, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna just pass it over to Ebenezer for his report.
You need
Fill
to
us in.
vote on the motion. Or ask if there are any objections.
Yes, you're right. Thank you. Sorry. See, I'm out of swing. So is there any are there any opposition to the motion to approve the agenda?
Then it passes. Very
Hearing
good.
none, it passes.
Thank you, Wayne. All right, so back to you, Ebenezer, for 5 minutes.
Ebenezer, you're muted.
Okay, thank you very much. Always is a pleasure being here as your district manager and coming back from the summer break. I hope everybody is refreshed and ready to go to another semester, we should say, and come back to the business. So I want to congratulate Daryl Cochran to become the chair of Housing and Human Services Committee. So looking forward to work with you in another capacity. I know that you're going to be doing well because you are a very dedicated board member. So thank you for stepping up to the plate and take a leadership position. My report, very short. Office operation. As Catherine mentioned before, we were supposed to go back to meeting in person at the beginning of the month. On September 1st, we were ready. The office was ready to have a meeting, the first meeting in the office, and also have a hybrid meeting, with the Zoom for people that kind of make it in person, et cetera, et cetera. But the last minute, we got the notification that the open meeting law was amended again until January 15, and that we can have the meetings via Zoom, and that's why we're doing this meeting in this way. But the office was ready. We have the logistics there to have a hybrid meeting in the office. With that, also, that the City of New York requested that all city employees report back to work in person starting last week, September 13. For our office, we have the discretion. The Board of President's Office said that, that each community board has the discretion to settle in the way is convenient for the operation of that community board. And also, we need to observe social distance inside the office. In our case, we are very well in good shape because we can have the 3 members of the staff at once in the office, since we have the space. Other community board doesn't have it, the space to have the 3 people at the same time, the 3 staff members at the same time. So we can have our 3 staff members at the same time because we have the space. However, since we need to coordinate our operation, and that our meetings happen at night. For example, this meeting just started now 6:30, but we don't know what time this meeting gonna finish. It would be unfair for a member of the staff to be in the office now controlling this meeting that start at 6:30 or 7 p.m. and we don't know what time the meeting gonna finish, and then wrap it up everything and then go home. So we have the discretion, I coordinate with Eleazar, how it's going to be the logistic for us to work better. So we made the decision that when a staff member, Paola or Chanel, have to control the meeting, they were going to be working from home on that particular day. So when they can start the meeting at night, they're already home when the meeting finished 10, 10:30, 11, the time sometime finish, okay? The same with me. If I have to be in the meeting, usually I have the executive committee and the general meeting, and sometimes I need to fill in for one of the staff. So we're going to be doing from home. I come to the office every day. I have been doing so for a while. Spend the day there, and then when I have a meeting, so this is what we are doing, the way we're operating now, and this is going to be the schedule of the way to operation until January 15, 2022. If it doesn't change, it's going to be like that. Another information that I need to make is that we have to change the office computer as soon as possible because the city of New York changed the software that we connect with the city network. And we had only all software, and we need to have a Windows 10, and the computer we have in the office doesn't have it. We tried to change it, but to upgrade it to Windows 10, but it was not possible. These computers are out of warranty, and do we recommend that we need to upgrade it? So we already placed an order to buy new computers for the office, and we are in the process of obtaining a new computer. This is the end of my report. Is there any question? Hearing none, thank you very much. Tanya, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted earlier. I had a question regarding the resource, whatever, when you put a resource notice of all the resources in the community. And I wanted to kind of revisit that and see like who we're putting on there, because I've had requests of people saying, I want our services on there and our service is not listed. And I just want to know, is there a way that, you and I or somebody, we can talk about that, making sure that, people, who are offering services in our community are that's being told to the community.
Sure. Send me.
You don't have to do it now. I'm just saying we can talk.
No. One of the tasks for the summer was to update our results list, and to be honest, it was on the list, but we didn't get into that because we devoted all the time to upgrade our website. The website has all the resolutions, all the agendas, and it's updated to everything that we get is there. A few things are missing that we don't receive it, but that was the time was expended during the summertime. And yes, but one of the things we need to do is to update our community resource. So send me the information you want. We updated that, and I will do so as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, Ebenezer.
Yes.
You mentioned that we were ready to have in-person meetings in September. And I'm just wondering, typically there are 2 committee meetings an evening, and having a committee meeting in the office would not allow for social distancing. So what were the plans if we were in fact meeting in September?
Sure. The big room was set to have, a meeting there with fewer chairs for the public and the distance on the table, around the table, to accommodate the committee members. And the small room, it was the same logistic. We have the table there, and we're going to have the space to have the meeting, keeping the social distance between members, and a few chairs for the public. When we reach capacity, we reach capacity. The other logistic that we have for the general meeting is to have it on the second floor with a space for all the board members. And with the laptops, we can be able to live stream to via YouTube and Facebook our meetings.
Yeah.
That was the logistic that we had to do
But
there.
my concern was with, a committee meeting in the small room or basically in the office space, because, it can be rather tight. And if you allow for, sufficient spacing between committee members and, members of the audience, it's not quite clear how that room works given its configuration.
Yes, it's a small capacity. We need to reach to capacity. That was the direction that we get from the Board of President's office. So you need to allow the members of the public to come, but up to the capacity of the meeting.
So
of
we
the room.
didn't have an alternate space for a second meeting that would more readily accommodate a reasonable size
No, as
group?
you know, no organization wants to lend the rooms in this day. And for the general meeting that we have the second floor, this is an option. I spoke with them to rent it. We have to pay for that room. And as a matter of fact, I tried to get the approval from the borough, from OMB, to have enough funding for that, because every time we have a meeting on the second floor, we need to pay $400 and try to have the funding for that. And we already spoke with them in case they had, let's say that your committee has a ULUR application, and then the other committee that meet with you have a big item as well. Probably we will have to rent the second floor on the same day. So we were preparing for that. And it's up to capacity. And people have to understand, the member of the public. As a matter of fact, somebody from the public came the day of the Public Safety Committee. It was raining that day like crazy, but a member of the public came. And I was there with Eleazar, and Eleazar said, "Well, you don't leave, it's already 7 p.m." So no, we need to wait for in case somebody come. And in fact, a member of the public came to the office looking for that meeting. I was able to give him the connection and recommend him to go home and do it. So we need to work it out, depending of the need, and really have the logistics set up on time, ahead of time, depending of the capacity of the meeting. If it's a big item in one committee, so we give the large room, or maybe we need to go to the second floor. So
Okay,
let's see what happens.
All right, just real quick, sorry. There's 3 hands for you, Ebenezer, so I want to kind of
Yes.
get going with folks are waiting.
Okay.
So first up, it's Isidro, it's Debbie, and then Daryl. So, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Isidro.
Hi, Vanessa. Following up on what Wayne was saying, as you're aware, the license committee had 40 licenses. That's adding up the number of committee members, which is 10. Multiply that when you have restaurant owners and also representatives or attorneys, that would add up to a huge number. I know this is an anomaly that happens perhaps maybe twice a year, but if it comes to that where, this will be an issue, I just wonder how, the board will deal with such a huge number.
No, in cases like that, let's say that for your committee, one of the plans that we have was to have the second floor up to capacity. But remember, every time we use the second floor, we will have to pay $400.
Even that room, Vanessa, I think will be quite a challenge because
yes, it is to have community board meetings in this time. One option that we may have for your committee is to have the participant intervene via Zoom, because remember, these requirements in order to have effective meeting when we go back in person with the amendment to the open meeting laws is lifted, is the people that are going to vote in the committee that must be present. Everybody else can participate via YouTube or Zoom. And so we can coordinate with that in such a way. Make sure that the people that must be in the room to vote have a space with social distance observed.
Thank you.
Okay, Debbie?
Hi. It's kind of like a granular administrative issue, but it's kind of bothering me. So we have calendars that are online and available digitally. We do things on Facebook. But we work from a calendar and an agenda that exists in sort of more of a hard copy environment. So for example, TNT meeting changed this year because the first Monday was Labor Day. And no matter how many times the online stuff went out, it still showed my meeting as being on Labor Day. And on my agenda items also are different things in different places because the change in one place doesn't get changed in others. And it's 2021. And we've had this issue with like, well, only so much fits on the agenda in the teeny tiny mouse print, but it's like enough already. You change something once, there should be one document that has the information, and then it should update in whatever channels we're communicating, whether that's an online calendar, whatever that is, whether that's a Facebook, I don't care, but I just feel like it's often my committee that's like, and even when I said, if there's a mistake, it doesn't get corrected, it goes out again. And it's like, well, what's right over there? I don't care. Like, let's just pull it together. It's like, we're way past the time when we've had all these technologies. Second thing is, are there meeting notes from DSC meetings? So basically there are things that happen that would involve DOT, for example, or MTA sometimes, I'm guessing. And it would be great as the committee chair if I could see the notes from those meetings. So is there note taking, or is that not a note taking? Like there's no minutes from that?
Well, with the district service cabinet meeting, I made the report when and that's is the note. It's a recording there. I can send it to you, but I made the report. Minute per se, like you have in your meeting, I don't have it, unfortunately, but I put a part of my report. So by the general meeting, you're going to have my report.
Right, but that's for high level things. So I'm just saying, like, the things that are not worth that anybody would care about, but I would care about just to see the minutes. But if they don't get produced, they don't get produced. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. Okay, thanks, Ebenezer.
Yeah, yes, with respect with the calendar, because I received the same request for another committee. And as you know, we changed many of the committee meetings for September because of the holiday. The office tried, and it should look like like you said, we're in 2021 and the technology is up there, but unfortunately not. That calendar that you're referring to in our website, if I make the change for your committee meeting or for any committee meeting for that particular month, it will affect your committee, the calendar for the rest of the year going forward. We tried to have the connection. We spoke with Do It. We tried to do it. They say, okay, you can have it. And in fact, we made the change. If you go to the calendar, you will see that some of the committee meetings that were scheduled there, it have the second date. But the original day stay there because the system only allow us to make the change, okay, for days. So the meeting was for the first Monday. We change it to the second Monday, and we'll say it's for the second Monday for this month. But the original date stayed there. We spent quite some time doing this. We called Do It. We asked for their help. And Chanel and I, we spent a lot of time, quite some time, trying to fix this because I know many people go in technology days. You go with the electronic calendar, and people do not pay attention to the PDF calendar that we send. That is the official calendar for the office with the day of the meeting, the agenda of the meeting. That is there, and we send it out. But people in technology with the telephone and everything will go to the electronic calendar. We understand that. We passed that complaint to the Department of Information and Technology, and we will follow up. Because I personally feel like worse than you feel because you asked me for this request. We said we have that technology, the website, but it's still updated, not updated. So we try to find out the way to fix that with Do It. Okay, we're working on that, and sorry, it's out of my hands. Daryl.
Amazing.
Yeah, just real quick, getting back to what Wayne had mentioned earlier, because some committees do have meetings on the same night, it may make sense when we're going back that a committee change its day I don't know how much notice is needed for the public to notify the public, but it's just, I don't think it doesn't make sense to have meetings in the office space. So, you know, that's just my suggestion.
Well, let's see, you know, when the amendment was lifted in August, we were required to have the meeting in the office. It's out of our hands. Thank God, you know, it was amended again, but, you know, if the law said that we need to have the meeting in the office, we will have to have the meeting on the office, otherwise the meeting will not be valid if member of the committee that need to be there is not there. Unfortunately.
Mary, is your hand up for Ebenezer?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. I'll have you the last hand and we gotta move on.
I'm sorry, I just, you know, want to comment that the time for our meeting on the 2nd was inconsistent, and I had several people logging on at 10 o'clock, which is what some of the notices had said. And, you know, that's an issue when that comes up, and our meeting time has never changed. So you know, that doesn't quite go along with, you know, the explanations that have been said already.
Yes, it was a mistake in the setting.
Yeah.
It will not happen again.
Okay. Jim, you want to go ahead real quick before we move on?
Yeah, I just have 2 quick comments. I think, you know, based on what Ebenezer told us, the software the city is making us use is unacceptably bad. And you know, we may even have to pass a resolution because it's, you know, it's making our life difficult, and that's not what. And the other piece is, if we have to use the smaller room, which we'd rather not, the key is, as Ebenezer said, we just have to limit the size of the audience. So if we have, you know, it may just be only 3 seats, but remember, this will, we can, you know, even if it's not hybrid, we can broadcast it anyway, I'm pretty sure. We can certainly do that. And so people, even if they're not physically present, will be able to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to pass it on.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thanks. All right, so I'm going to pass it on to Omar for his treasurer's report.
Thank you. This is a unique month because we come back from a break. So you get 2 reports, not just one. One report is the end of fiscal year 21 report that kind of will give you an idea of how we ended the year. And I'm just gonna go over that report quickly because I want to spend more time on this fiscal year since the old one passed away. Just to remind everybody about how this report works, you have personnel expenses. That's the salary for the staff in the office. We can't touch that funding, so it's there, it's theirs. We have other than personnel funding that covers everything that has nothing to do with personnel. So that's supplies, that's equipment, translator services, those things. And then we have another group of funding called lease, and that's lease. It's self-explanatory. So the focus is always on other than personnel because we can't control personnel costs. And then we have lease, those buckets and those budgets are locked. And we ended the year leaving on the table about $3,987, primarily because we earmarked a good chunk of it for translation services. So that big chunk of that went unused in translation services. Some of it went unused in office supplies. So that's what we left on the table out of $45,700 last year in other than personnel expenses. Just remember that last year, we had a one-time grant of $10,000 that was given to us for graffiti removal, which was used up. So that's funding that you're not going to see in this year's budget. So if you see $45,000 last year, you see $35,000 in this year, it's because we had $10,000 one time last year, okay? Just in case anyone thinks we had a budget reduction, we didn't. In that same vein, we were lucky enough that the city recovered enough that budget reductions that we thought were going to happen this year got pulled off the table. So we got our money back. So they made our budget whole. So our budget in other than personnel costs in this fiscal year is $35,000. It was expected to be less, but we were lucky enough that the city made us whole. And that's been happening a lot throughout other city agencies based on a lot of the grant funding that's flowed into the city. Moving into this fiscal year's report, so September's report, going away from last year's report, we have an other than personnel budget of $35,000. I'm not going to go into every single line here. You can kind of read it, but I do want to call out the fact that we do have funding that was given to us by certain council members. They tally up 8,500 total. Idanis Rodriguez gave us $5,000 that after this report was made, I was made aware that this is for translation services that we had last year that will continue this year. So thank you, Idanis Rodriguez office for that. We received $1,000 from council member Carlos for an urban planner or a technician. And we received $2,500 from Mr. Levine to support community outreach and programming in Mahan CB 12. With that said, with the restoration of funding that we received from the city, there is a little bit of wiggle room there, about $5,000 that can be used for things that the board might want to do. So those are things that you can talk with the chair about. Any suggestions you may have, it's the chair, it's his decision in terms of how we would go about those services. That's going to conclude my treasurer's report because everything else is in the report itself. So I don't want to go line by line on that. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, I don't have I just wanted to, thanks for breaking this down so clearly. It's much appreciated. It's a change. So greatly appreciate hearing it like this. And so this is not to you, Omar. So thank you again for your work.
No problem.
I do hope that, as I will say this out loud, that we can make a priority to do our anti-bias training, and that we find that we support that work, because if our internal environment is not healthy, if we are engaging in behaviors that are oppressive to others and or creating situations just among ourselves where people don't necessarily feel welcome or feel that they can grow here, I think that it doesn't matter what else we do. So, and we definitely can't tell the community to do anything else better if we're not also being the leaders and showing that we ourselves want to live up to that. And it's not a preaching thing. It's just everybody around the country is doing this work. We have organizations, corporations, communities, people are doing this work, recognizing how important it is and that we need it. And I just hope that we can support, finding funds, and when we do have them, to do what we can to support this work, because it's not a priority so far. And I would love for it to be something that we do and make a priority. And to thank those who did come to our training over the summer. I know that it was, hard. I was on vacation. I wasn't even in town. But so I thank everybody who did come and to participate. We appreciate that. And it made, that even better, just having your voices and your faces, seeing you there, knowing you support this work. So thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Tanya. Omar, just so you're aware, Sally has a comment in the Q&A, so you can respond directly to her since you're a panelist on the budget.
Allocated this year. Okay, thank you. I'll look into it.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Omar, for starting us off. If there are no other hands, we're going to move on to OC's report, so her secretary report.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. I don't have really anything to report this month. I just want to announce that I'm resigning as the secretary of the board, effective immediately. I'm not sure what does that mean for tonight's meeting. Maybe James would like to chime in. I don't know where Rosie is. I'm assuming she's still the assistant secretary, and my understanding she'll have to accept her new position as a secretary or not. Is that correct?
As I understand it, she becomes secretary the second you resign. Now, she's not here, and the bylaws also provide that the chair of the meeting can appoint someone to be the secretary for the meeting.
Okay.
So that's what the second year resignation begins. Catherine will appoint someone secretary,
Okay.
or even before, whatever. That's how it works. Thank you.
All right. So Catherine, it's in your hand.
Okay, thank you, OC. I know Isidro, you have your hand up. I'll call you in a second. Thank you for your service and for your devotion. I know that you've dedicated a lot of time and have really helped to kind of improve a lot of our practices and have actually, I've learned so much from you, and I know a lot of us can say the same. So I would say, also, just to reiterate, for anybody, right, who steps away from the board or from an elected position, please email both Ellie and MBPO's office.
Right.
I'm not aware. That's why I don't know if this is new or not. So I'm gonna take hands real quick. So Isidro, Daryl, and then I'll work to appoint for this meeting a secretary.
Thank you so much, Catherine. So also, did I hear that correctly that you're resigning from the board?
No, I'm resigning in my position as the secretary.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank
Okay.
you. That's all, Catherine. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, no, and OC, obviously you're under no obligation to answer this question, but I was just wondering if there was a reason behind it. Maybe you want to say that later in private, that's fine. But I know it seems like we've been now through 3 secretaries in 18 months, 24 months. So if it's something inherent with the position, maybe we should work to change that is all.
Yes and no, and it's a combination of things. And so I think it would be best to have somebody else in that position right now. That does not mean that maybe 2 years down the road, if I'm still on the community board, I'm not going to try to run for that position again. But right now, it's the right thing for me to do. For what I need to do, it's best. Yeah, okay. We can talk on the side, Daryl, but you know.
And I think you're wonderful at your job. So
thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, everybody got to do what's best for yourself. So thank you so much, OC, for sharing that as well. Okay, so because this meeting is recorded, we'll have it out. And Jim, let me know if this is appropriate or not. I can have Rosie write the minutes based on the recording. Tanya, since we only have one resolution, do you mind helping me out with roll call? I know you're at work, so I think you're at work, so I don't know if you're able to. If not, I can appoint somebody else.
No, that's fine.
All right, cool. So it's just the folks you see on the screen as usual. So there's only 13 of us, and 12 technically 13, yeah, because Jim can't vote. All right, I think we got that. Cool. Thank you, OC. All right, so we're gonna pass it on to Wayne. Also a new update, right, in terms of our agenda. So the resolutions are separate, which I appreciate and like. So Wayne, go ahead and talk us through the open restaurants resolution.
Okay. First of all, the reason why this is coming to the executive committee as opposed to the general committee is the deadline for comments is this coming Monday, the 27th, which is exactly 1 day before the general meeting. And I asked, going back to June, if city planning could simply extend the deadline through, the end of the month, 3 days or so. But as they pointed, this is a citywide initiative. It was released for public comment in, mid to late June, which is a curious time because it was released for public comment just about when community boards were going into, summer hiatus. So unless they expected us to meet during the summer, it was really a tight time frame. As you probably all know, as a result of COVID-19, the city suspended a number of rules to put in place an emergency outdoor dining program. The proposal now is, and there's been some discussion about this over the months, to create a permanent program. Currently, although city planning does not have anything to do with the approval of, sidewalk cafes, zoning limits or controls where sidewalk cafes can in fact occur and what type of cafes, whether they are small or large, enclosed or unenclosed. And so the proposal is to strike from the zoning resolution all language that have any zoning limitations and basically put the decision under the Department of Transportation. We discussed the presentation that was made by City Planning and DOT, and it's not that the committee is against a permanent outdoor dining program, but we feel the action that City Planning is proposing now, which is, removing all of the zoning text that pertains to cyber cafes from the zoning resolution, is premature at this point. They have not yet developed the rules and regulations for the permanent program. They have not developed the design guidelines. While they acknowledge there were challenges to the emergency program, they have not addressed how they're going to, and the emergency program is still in effect through sometime next year. They have not addressed how they are going to, better respond to those. So we thought it would make more sense to draft the guidelines and draft the rules and regulations and maybe even pilot a program that uses those that are intended for the permanent program before taking the official step of, changing the zoning resolution to, make everything under DOT's, authority. And the other question that was raised is, DOT would be the primary city agency responsible for dealing with responding to complaints from residents or businesses. And the question is, how responsive has DOT been during the emergency program with this, and how responsive is DOT? So there are a lot of questions that really need to be asked. So if you read the resolution, it doesn't say that we are against the proposed program. It says that we understand the intent, but we don't support adopting the zoning text amendment at this time, that we urge City Planning and DOT to draft and circulate for public review the design guidelines and the rules and regulations proposed for the permanent program. And we also urge them to use the design guidelines and the rules and regulations after they've responded to public comments on a pilot program to see how well they work before they take the steps of implementing a permanent program. Questions, comments? I see Isidro.
Thank you, Wayne, for this potential resolution. I think that as we move forward, we got to be careful on the many challenges that community of colors face when it comes to mom and pop shops, right? I've seen many shacks around the community that just, regardless of your community of color or not, they just cannot be on the street. It is unsafe. It looks horrible. And honestly, it doesn't belong in New York City. But at the same time, we have to also think about safety. So when DOT comes along and designs the plan moving forward for outside dining, I hope that they come to our community, hear from the community board, particularly those that are involved with restaurants, and understand what are the natures of the building, of these new designs. Because often enough, I've seen like many places where restaurants are just taking up spaces for, that would belong otherwise to regular parking spots, taking away business from small businesses. So it's a very high and risky and very critical aspect of outside dining, but we gotta be careful because just by providing outside dining access to restaurants, is also killing other industries in our community. So I hope that when they do come back, that they do come to the community board and listen to our concern. Thank you so much, Wayne, for your input.
And actually, thank you for that, because you reminded me of something that I mentioned to city planning going back in June when they first said this was coming out. I told them that at least for CB12, our business development committee would be very interested in it and they should share the information with them. I doubt if they've done that, but it also occurs to me that, you know, the program, as you read through the resolution, it will include both sidewalk dining and roadway dining. And traffic and transportation may have some concerns. So I guess that reinforces the point that we're making, that they're jumping to the end of a process and removing text from the zoning resolution before they've done their homework.
And also, Wayne, you know, the licensing committee obviously has to deal with all these issues. So it will make total sense for us to be fully aware of anything that might come up or pop up in the future.
Yeah, so they need to do more work. Debbie?
Thanks, Wayne. I just want to say, like, I appreciate how detailed and thoughtful you lay out sort of what they were talking about and why our response, or why your committee's response is what it is. And I think I need a lot more time to absorb it. I did say to DOT at the last meeting that, at my recent committee meeting, that you know, I think it's time that our committee, you know, talk about this, because to have it go from an emergency program where restaurants couldn't, you know, offer inside dining, to one stakeholder of the many clamoring for roadbed space, and with the magic wand say that goes to 2022 is just sort of kind of blowing my mind. And then now we have, you know, the important work of figuring out, though, what the ongoing program is going to look like. So I appreciate you providing such a good starting point, because I really feel like I've got a lot of work to do to kind of like understand where we've been and sort of what the ideas are about of where they think they're going. Because it's a little Wild West out there, and it's in streets and places and times that shouldn't be there. But on the other hand, you know, at the time, it was obviously a wonderful and critical and amazing thing that we did. So, I mean, that the city did. Anyway, so I just want to say thank you for all that. And I look forward to like spending more time staring at it and trying to understand all of the ins and outs of it.
Okay, I see Mary Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of concerns about it too, because of, you know, the things that affect the aging and disabled population. You know, there are several restaurants that have both outdoor and then the curb, you know, seating, you know, outside arrangement. And I'll tell you, there are some places where I can't get by with my walker, never mind a wheelchair, because of the way the trees and the, you know, the areas around the trees are situated. I mean, you know, I can cite a bunch of examples like that. So, you know, I certainly would want to discuss this in our committee as well.
Yeah, and you'll notice that in the resolution, one of the challenges that we discussed was in fact maintaining clear paths, but clear paths that are accessible to people with mobility disability. And that is something that you know, Natalie from the Borough President's Office was in attendance, and she raised that as well, that in some cases, you know, with the tree roots and other things, you know, in theory you have a path, but when you take all the obstructions into account, you don't have a path.
Right, and if you can get by, it's, you know, like somebody has to wait because it's only one that can only be a one-way path, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I see one more for you, and that's Daryl before we vote.
Just on that subject too, and I know it's not in the resolution, but you know, when you're talking about wheelchair access, you know, it does have to be 3 feet. People can and should probably report that first to DOT, but it can also be reported to the City Commission on Human Rights. And under full disclosure, I work for that agency. So I just wanted to point that out as well, that there's another angle with city agencies in order to enforce that particular rule.
But you raise an interesting point, Daryl. One of the other challenges that city planning and DOT admit to during the emergency program that it's not clear how they're going to address it is in fact enforcement, because they admit that enforcement about anything was very lax. So including, clear path. So what's the game plan now? How they intend to, enforce anything? So it was great that they acknowledged what some of the challenges were, but they have not laid out a game plan for how they propose to address them.
I mean, I know for the Commission on Human Rights, it was literally me personally going to a restaurant and telling the owner manager that, hey, you can't do this, and hope they comply and follow up with them. But yeah, that is certainly a staffing issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Wayne. Thanks, Daryl, for that. So
I just want to say one more quick thing.
Okay,
when,
go ahead, Mary.
When Havana Heights was opening, when Havana Heights were building their outside seating arrangements and they aren't on the curb and all, I actually spoke to them about what they were doing and how it was going to impede traffic flow for pedestrians and disabled. And they gave me a nasty response. That's all I can say about them. I don't have much good to say about them, actually.
So,
Noted.
Catherine, are we,
Yes.
This is the only resolution, are we voting on it now or at the end of the meeting? Now?
Yeah, I think we can vote on it now, based on our discussion. So, Tanya, just as usual, right, we're doing the roll call. She'll call names and we can go ahead and vote.
Yeah, so I would move that the executive committee adopt the land use committee's resolution on the citywide zoning text amendment for permanent open restaurants.
I second that.
Is there an objection?
Well, actually, you have to call the question.
Oh, sorry.
Those in favor.
So repeat the question for me. I feel super out of practice.
No, so we have a motion that was moved by me, second by Mary. So you just have to call those in favor, opposed, or abstaining.
Right. That way we have to avoid doing a whole roll call.
No, well, technically, the way we do that, and keep this in mind, is there always has to be a record of who voted for what. So the way since there will be no objections, probably the secretary or Tanya or the assistant secretary promoted will use the attendance of the meeting as the roll. Because again, we have to keep a record of who voted for what, just in case there's a conflict of interest or whatever. Thank you.
Yeah, but you would ask, is there any objection? And if no one objects, then the assumption is everyone votes for it.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, Wayne. All right. So is there any objection? Are there any conflicts? Hearing none, the resolution passes with 0 abstentions and 0 conflicts.
Unanimously.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Look at that. Lesson of the day. All right. So that brings us to our calendars. So we're going to start with the month of October. Again, these are all virtual meetings. I know we are missing, we don't have a rep from Parks tonight.
Or from Health and Environment?
Or from Health and Environment.
Although it's early, Steve will show up later. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's much.
So we have a few members, and it seems, and the time. I remember we decided
it's a holiday today or something, so maybe.
No, I think that was yesterday.
Yeah.
And tomorrow. Isn't Daryl, can't you rep Parks and?
He's no longer.
No, yeah, Daryl's
Housing
chair.
Services.
Huh?
You're on mute, Daryl, by the way. So yeah, Daryl's now our new chair for Housing and Human Services. So we don't have anyone from Parks and Health and Environment, but if they joined before, great. If not, they of course will email Ebenezer in the office if there's any changes. So
Nobles
are
is the new
there?
assistant chair. Just FYI.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, any requests for the month of October?
No, I mean, land use is back to its normal day.
All right. All right, awesome. So hearing none, the calendar sticks as is. And we can move on to the month of November. Please note there are several holidays, so please look at it closely.
Catherine,
Yes,
I would like to request for the month of November that the executive committee approve that it traditionally closing the office the day after Thanksgiving in November. Since I became the district manager 17 years ago, 15 years ago, we do that. In the past, we do it automatically, but then one time with the executive committee request, that we presented and that we approve it in advance. So we would like to request, that Friday, November 26th, the office remain closed at the day after Thanksgiving. The office, the staff will be using their own time. In my case, I'm gonna be using a floating holiday that I have, and Chanel and Paola will be using any comp time that they may accrue by working overtime.
okay, great. Thanks for the request. We can vote on it during under new business, I believe. Go ahead, Daryl.
I'm just curious, and I forget, I apologize. Do we as a full board meet on the 4th Tuesday or the last Tuesday of the month?
4th Tuesday.
Okay. So that's 2 days before Thanksgiving. Okay.
Yes. Usually for December is the week is on the 3rd Tuesday because the 4th Tuesday always is in the wait of the holidays, and to avoid that conflict, we meet on the 3rd Tuesday of December.
Okay. Actually, since we are on the calendar, it makes sense to vote on the administrative request while we're on the calendar so you can make that change together. So again, Ebenezer's, the office's request is to close the day after Thanksgiving on the 26th using personal time. Is there, and I'm assuming because it's an administrative request, y'all vote. So are there any, is there any opposition to this request? Any abstentions? No. Okay, hearing none, we will approve the office request to close formally on the 26th using staff personal time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course. All right. So we can move on from our calendars. Where did I lose my agenda? We're moving over to committee reports. And I think Debbie, you're first, if I recall.
Yes, I am.
All right, so 3 minutes.
I will be brief. We had 2 primary items on the agenda. First, related to the MTA presented a very welcome plan for making the Dyckman 1 train fully accessible. As people know, currently there's an elevator for one direction, but not the other. So we were able to see plans for the elevator that would kind of be by Fort George, anyway, for the northbound side. So people were really pleased to see that there is a goal. It's always been a hot issue in CB12 because of our topography to have expanded accessibility. So we are pleased to see our stations, as part of the capital plans and the vision to have that you wouldn't have to go more than like 2 stops without having an accessible station. And then actually 181st Street, A train would be in like the next cycle. And there's even talk of 168th Street, one station, which would be really exciting. And something that actually former and our late chair, Richard Lewis, was really adamant about, and turns out he was right. Anyway, second, we had DOT come back on the Dyckman Plaza to just provide a few updates, you know, sort of post-summer when they were able to watch things some more. So they made some tweaks to the design, you know, the bike lane has sort of moved back and forth from the north side street to south side streets back to the north side street. And then it'll basically be the FDNY, you know, emergency vehicle, it'll share the space with that. And then sort of the new thing was something that had gotten mentioned, but they're now sort of considering in more earnest and presented, was to turn that one block of Seaman between Dyckman and Riverside into a two-way street. And again, for sort of a variety of reasons. That didn't come to us as a reso item. We're sort of waiting to hear, like, is DOT going to come back and want us to act on that? But if all this comes to, well, in all cases, the Dyckman Plaza will probably hopefully be installed this fall, but any change to Seaman wouldn't be until next year. Any
With
questions?
half a minute to spare. Isidro.
By the way, and the question that came up about making that sector of Seaman a two-way street was that if you know, parking spots were going to be lost, based on the counts that they had, is very minimum the number of spots. But I did recommend that if there is any spot that is going to be lost, that they would exchange that going west on Dyckman, because there are plenty of spots there that can be made for parking. There are some areas that have no parking or no standing. Those areas can be made back for parking spots if there are any spots lost on this transition from a one-way to a two-way street on Seaman on that sector.
That was actually a great point. And the only reason we're not losing more is if people remember by Flat Fix and the gas station, there's so many curb cuts, there just aren't that many spaces, and they will leave heavy parking on the other side. I should add one thing just in terms of where we hear the community speaking up is we have gotten a lot of feedback over the years, sort of in various forms that relates to how difficult the situation on Henshaw is. There's a lot of double parking. The street gets blocked off very easily. If you've got emergency vehicles trying to go, then there's a lot of loudness. So people have come at us in different forms about the situation on Henshaw, and certainly with more frequency later. And so one nice thing that's sort of an offshoot of this potential change in Seaman is it would take pressure off what's like just a rough, you don't have a choice sometimes, but to cut over on Henshaw. So this hopefully would take pressure off where it really needs to be taken off.
Wayne, go ahead.
Hey, Debbie, concerning making the Uptown platform at Dyckman accessible, is the game plan to add an elevator or to have sort of a ramp that accesses through the adjacent property?
It's an elevator. And so they're kind of going to bump things out a bit. And then so create like an extended mezzanine. And then that's where the elevator would come up. And they're also going to have to do some bump out of the curb area that I think would affect Fort George. I'll see if I can get the picture to people. I think you would find it interesting. Yeah, I think you'll find the design interesting. So let me see if I can get my hands on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Abby. Next up is Francisco.
Hello, guys, and good evening. Happy Monday. For our meeting, we kind of just caught up on, we had some new committee members. We were just kind of going through with them and get to know them and how they see themselves contributing to the board. A chunk of our conversation was really based on cannabis. We've learned that there's a cannabis control board in the Office of Cannabis Management. So we're going to kind of dive into that in the next meeting. And we also spoke about partnering up with other committees like licensing, like public safety, to bridge information, because it's all encompassing, right? Licensing, business, public safety, especially with cannabis and how it negatively has affected our community, and possibly people that have been jailed, have been ticketed, will be one of the first ones possibly to get access to licensing and opening up a business in the community. So it's all, like I said, I would love for Isidro, I'm not sure what's going on with public safety, but whoever's the chair of that, what's up, Curtis? If we can kind of get together and plan this out for the rest of the year, that'd be great. And that's about it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Francisco. All right, and so for this meeting, I think we still got Curtis. If not, we'll come back. But you already heard homework from Francisco, so if you definitely, it's the biggest market that will be developing in who knows how long. So it's definitely a great opportunity for business to collaborate with other committees in this year. Who is next? So we're going to skip over public safety and go back to Wayne.
Okay, well, land use was supposed to have two presentations this month, but the presentation by the American Academy, or for the American Academy Arts and Letters, was postponed until October. So basically the discussion of city planning and DOT's text amendment was the only thing we discussed, and we discussed it at length, and you've heard about it. So that was that.
All right, thanks, Wayne. So Curtis is back. Curtis, talk to us about your last meeting.
Okay, sorry about that. I was using my phone audio, so I wasn't able to say that I was present, but I am present. So thank you all very much. We had a very short meeting. It was our first meeting back of the year. On September 1st, we had a presentation from the 34th Precinct Lieutenant, as well as an update from the the DA's office. The 33rd Precinct, they were not present because the new commanding officer was out ill for a few weeks. All of the discussion will be reflected in the minutes. As Catherine said, this is my final meeting as the chair of Public Safety Committee. It's been an honor working with the exec committee. I look forward to continuing my work as a general board member and working to help the next chair of the public safety in any way I can. I don't know who that's going to be. I've not communicated with the chair yet about the replacement, but I hope that will be announced soon so I can work and help that person. Thank you all.
Awesome, and thank you, Curtis. I know how hard you work to bring really nuance and new life to public safety, honestly. So shout out to all the work that you did on the committee and keep doing on the board. All right, so we're gonna go over to Faye for youth and education.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Catherine, and for leading this meeting. And hello, everyone. Yes, well, my report hopefully will be brief. We have two presentations, and we have an announcement, and also we have a discussion for the preliminary budget. So we learned that the WIN Music Charter School, I don't know if everybody, most of you remember that they was trying to get relocated on 81st Street. So lucky for them, they got a better deal. The same landlord where they were supposed to be moving on 181st facilitated them a new location on 160th Street, if I remember correctly. So they're going to be located at 160 between Broadway and Amsterdam. He provided a sketch of the new building. Some of the things that I remember is that this facility is going to hopefully they're going to be offering like a space for the community to have meetings, hopefully. And they also going to have a auditorium with capacity for about like 300, people. And they looking forward to, have a public hearing, which is something that Steve that was there suggested that before they move up with this plan, or as they move along with this new project, they should have a public hearing so the community get to know exactly what their intentions are. So he had no objection, and this is something that we probably going to have sometime late October, if not early November. Aside from that, we also have a new presentation. For first time, we have Dr. Nicole Becker. She is the founder and executive director of Every Voice Choir, which is a singing program for children provided at Columbia University. So being the first time in our, committee, she really wanted the board to share the program. They really looking to increase their number of students. It's a fascinating program, I think, from what I learned. They offer financial aid, basically, or some kind of incentive for the kids who wanted to join the program. And but basically, most of it, they wanted the board to spread the word. More on that, in my minutes. I also wanted to report that we did discuss our committee annual budget priority. Unfortunately, a lot of the members didn't get the time to review what was the register report. So I went as far as I could and discussed whatever I could, and also provided the new members in terms of the procedures and what exactly this, preliminary budget and the process, means. So we also moving forward, we also, and that in the same note, we also decided that, hopefully by the next meeting in October, so everybody will go back and revise, that report. And then, we will continue the second discussion as is going to be presented, at the full board. We also have a new business. We have one of the local organization, community coordinator, Al Santino, who's a representative from Viva Uptown. This is a new program actually that started not too long ago, I should say. And they basically second the activity that we started building relationship with police officer. So this is something that the community and some folks in the community, including this program, they already started, promoting. And last, I also made an announcement of our, last year we didn't have the Youth and Police Building Bridges. So this year I've been, doing arrangement with we're not going to have it at the George Washington. We're going to have it instead at the State Park. And we already have Holland on board. A few of my colleagues on board going to be supporting the initiative. And this time is going to be in collaboration with Community Board 12. So not directly the Youth and Education Committee, but in collaboration with folks in Holland and other folks in the community as usual. But it's in collaboration, not the board doing the event directly. And
say that was your time. That was a perfect ending because that was your time. You do have hands up as well from Wayne.
Faye, quick question regarding the Wynn Charter School. 160th between Broadway and Amsterdam is actually much closer to where they're currently located. But are they talking about building a new building or renovating an existing building?
I believe they are building a new building. I think that is, it's renovating. Oh, you got me right in there. I think they are constructing a new building because he provided actually a blueprint of the new facility.
Yeah, because I can't think of an existing building on 106 is between Broadway and Emerson that would be appropriate. So
Well,
it's probably,
That is my understanding as well, that
It
they're
must
building a new building.
okay.
Well, I want to say that since that location belonged to the present landlord where they wanted to be located on 181st, so make me think that there is an actual location that might be probably just, you know, it's going to be renovated or change it, something.
Well, no, what I'm saying, Faye, is I live like 2 blocks away from there. So I don't
Like
think,
I said, they're building a new building, period.
so that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's an
Right.
existing building. I
And,
think
and
they're building.
Oh,
apparently
they're building a new building.
they can get tax, you know, whatever like municipal bonds to finance it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So that, I believe that's part of their plan as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And by the way, October 2nd is the event.
The youth, the
Youth
partner,
and
the,
Public Building is the.
okay. Yeah, that email went out today from the office as well. So I'm sure folks will keep
I
receiving.
wanted to say, this is important, just very briefly, that this particular, how do you call a flyer is going to be updated. So please not to resend that flyer again. Tomorrow I'm going to send in a new flyer because Maria actually updated.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Faye. So Parks is not present tonight, so we'll look out for the minutes. We'll pass it on to licensing and Isidro.
Thanks again, Catherine. So some ask that I'm going to have Ebenezer to please execute. Ebenezer, if you so kind, please send a green book to the new licensing members so they become aware of the regulations from the SLA. It will serve a lot of questions that we might have as we proceed forward. And also, Ebenezer, the cutoff time to submit documentation is when you and I meet and you bring me all these printed documents. We will not accept anything afterwards because it's unfair to me and the committee to have to read like all of this. It's like 300 pages that you see here. And to have this be given a day before, night before, for me to absorb and digest all the questions that I have to bring to the members, it's not fair, nor do I have the facility to print all of this at the house. So on that cutoff Friday is the last time that we will accept any documents from any applicants, no exceptions, because it's not fair to me or the committee. So we had 40 applicants. It was a long night, but we made it through. I think that we digested every single applicant. Some of them were rejected because they did not post a public notice. We traditionally vote against any applicant that do not post the public notice because it means that the residents will not have a say or will not know what's going on at a particular establishment. So we voted down about 10 applicants from the renewals, 13 of them that did post the public notice, brought up the complete applications, so they passed. There were 14 new licenses. 7 of them were withdrawn because either they didn't post the public notice or they didn't have a true complete application. And then out of those, 3 passed and 4 were rejected by the committee. And you find the specifics on the minutes. I must be happy and thrilled because I have a new vice president that is going to take charge of the minutes. I'm going to write the resolutions, and Angel, as the new vice president, will take care of the minutes. So as we speak, I'm writing the resolutions for the board, and you should have the 40 resolutions before you once we start the regular board meeting. That's on my end. If there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions, comments for Isidro on licensing? Well, kudos through getting through 40 applicants. That must be a lot for your first month. All right, and so we're gonna move on to concerns of the aging with Mary.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to start by thanking OC and Curtis for your service as you've done on this executive board. And, you know, your work has certainly been helpful to the rest of us to get our work done. So I wish you both good luck in continuing your ventures on the community board. And Daryl, good luck to you. It's nice to have you as chair. Happy September, everybody. We had our meeting in July. We did not meet in August, but a lot of our discussions in both meetings, both the July meeting and the September meeting, was to see how the senior centers were making out with beginning to have in-person programming and meals. They all moved slowly from, beginning to have, and not all senior centers had the grab and go meals. Some had just the in-house meals. There have been a variety of hybrid activities planned, and the attendance at all of the senior centers that we've heard from has been increasing slowly, and things are going pretty well. We had a presentation at our September meeting. At our July meeting, forgive me, from Biana Roy. She's the head of the dental care she works in the dental care facility at Columbia, and they are working on providing dental care for the homebound population. So we had a large discussion about how that can more readily be accomplished using, sources like home care nurses, like the Columbia nurse practitioner group. And, it seems like there's a real need to increase those services, because we've got a lot of homebound seniors that can't get out for that kind of care. We want to bring oral health back into the regular health care. I'm sorry, let me just check something here. We had some discussion about the COVID booster injections, wondering how best that can get accomplished with the seniors, whether they're going to be giving them at the senior centers or what's going to happen with that. And, now we're hearing more and more discussion about, getting less conflicting information, but getting some definitive information. We began talk about the budget, and we really want to try to figure out how to keep the clients in the senior centers involved as we had before COVID. We were going to the senior centers to have our meetings. And what's happened as of July, both the July and the September meeting, is that the Star Senior Center has the ability to tune into our meetings via Zoom. They have a large screen, and their clients they've been making it a regular program on the day of our meetings. So that's been great to have them involved, and we want to have all the senior centers be able to do that. So that's one of our goals. That's it.
Thank you. That's awesome, Mary. I think if there could be like a picture of folks like watching the Zoom meeting in action or participating at the center, that'd be awesome to share out in the newsletter.
That actually may be something Ebenezer can figure out how to do, because we have them on the camera at our meeting.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So health and environment is not present, but the minutes will be circulating. The recordings, of course, are around. And now, last but not least, is Daryl for his first chair report tonight. How was it?
Hi, thank you. What are the rules exactly? How
So
many
you
minutes?
get 3 minutes, and your chair report could usually be a summation of what happened at this meeting. So kind of like a brief highlight, what's it out. And folks also tend to share maybe something that's coming up that's really important that you'd like to share as well. So that's usually how it goes.
Okay, all right. I'll do my best. Yeah, I mean, we had a new chair, obviously, and other new members, so we were getting to know each other a bit. Also, we talked about a few different items besides the budget. We discussed possibly changing the committee purview. I know I reached out to Jim about this. If you look at the bylaws for each committee, it shows you the agencies that each committee has purview over. And I don't know, maybe Jim knows when this was last updated, but it seems a little out of date with this current administration. So there were new.
It was definitely after the flood.
After the what?
The flood, the one that Noah was in.
The big one? Okay.
Yes, the big one.
Good to know. And you were on the committee, I think, though.
Oh, definitely. It was fun to watch.
But there are some agencies like the Department of Veteran Services, MOIA, the Office to End Domestic and Gender-Based Violence, that I think should be added under our committee as it relates to human services. And then I'm sure if folks want to look at that section of the bylaws too, I think there are other committees that could probably stand an update as it relates to the current agencies under this administration. We may have more or fewer agencies under the next administration. Also, just talked a little bit about some priorities for the next year through next summer, including like really doing a look at the housing supply in the area. As well as possible impacts of the census that would have on services to the district. Also, there was one thing that I was asked to bring to the executive board, and I don't know if we can really discuss it if Ellie's not here, but I believe I was told that there was supposed to be a public hearing on the Armory that is being called by the chair. So I was just wondering if there was any update on that. I don't know if Catherine, if you have any or any other member of the executive committee has information on that.
No, I don't have any information on that, but I can definitely let Ellie know, and next month's exec meeting, I'm sure will be discussed.
Okay, that would be great. And that was it.
Great, awesome.
Get under
I'm
time.
right under time. Yes, you did. 10 seconds. All right, any questions or comments for Daryl? No. All right, well, we look forward to this new leaf in Housing and Human Services. So we're gonna go on to old business. In old business, we have our ongoing work around anti-bias, or the inclusion resolution, as we usually refer to. So, I mean, Tanya, do you want to kind of start an update there? I mean, kind of shared earlier about the training.
Yes, so we are trying to get resources to do some facilitated work, more intensive facilitated work that's pretty tailored to specific needs of this community board and the specific challenges that we're dealing with. And so, working on trying to see what we have to work with or what other sort of resources can be brought in to do the work. And we did, I did send a survey out myself to you all and if you all could take it, because it does help us to understand a little bit about, your attendance at the last one or not, and and what you think your participation will be in future training. So if, I'll send that out again to everyone. But if you get it, if you could just take a few moments, it's not that long at all to just fill that out. It would really be helpful. And so we could, look at that information and see, what we can do. But, we do want to do, yes, there are general trainings like we did with the one on race and color, which really gave some very valuable information, I think, about in general about what we mean by those things. And I think, a lot of people, for some people, they learn something new. And we were hoping to do have to find some time in the calendar to do a training around our transgender community and gender nonconforming people, so that there's greater understanding of that as well. But the Taylor facilitated trainings, we're really hoping to that's going to require getting someone to facilitate and hiring those people, and they'll be working with the board in terms of what the issues are, the challenges are, to tailor the trainings to those needs. But it really just comes down to resources that we will have. So your advocacy about that would be really helpful to assure that message gets all the way up on this board, that we need that support to do this work. Yeah, and if you please get the survey, please take it. And if you have any questions for me or about this work, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Cool. All right. No questions, comments. All right, thank you, Tanya. All right, so that brings us, that's the only old business we have on the agenda, or ongoing business really. Any new business? Okay, hearing none. Are there any announcements before I could potentially hear a motion to adjourn? No. Wow, what a quiet group. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for a great start for the month of September. I hope that
This
you all
was
had
an
amazing
excellent
committee
meeting,
members.
everyone. We are all to be congratulated.
Great job.
Exactly.
Great job.
Thanks.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
no, great to
Thank you, Kathy.
everyone present and on time. That is the goal.
Great
So
work,
thank you,
Catherine.
everyone, and we'll see each other next week.
okay.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Take
great
care.
evening.
Bye. Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.